All right, guys, on your practice yesterday, you just did the slope formula. Today, we're going to come back to bringing it together to, okay, you use the slope formula and found M, now you're going to find B, and now you're going to finish writing your equation. So I need you all to get out page 39. It kind of doesn't look like 39, got cut off weird and looks more like 29. But this is what page 39 looks like. It's actually just an extension of the notes from page 38. So get out page 39, get your pens and pencils ready to go. Today for this page, I'm going to let you do most of the work, and then I'll just kind of double check it after because at this point, I know you at least practiced enough slope formula to get a minimum score on that quiz so that you could move on to this video. So right now, everybody take a minute, look at number 8. You're supposed to write an equation of a line that passes through the points 0, 0, and 3, -6. I'm going to just sit here for about, I don't know, 30 seconds and let you set up and find the slope. Go, ready, set, go. Slope formula, find the slope. Did you do it? And did I scare you? Okay, so slope formula, here we go. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You should have gotten -6 over 3, which means the slope is -2. Pause right there and double check your work. If you got -2, you're good to move on. If you didn't, go back and find out where you made a mistake for your own brain. And this is the point where if you can't find where you made your mistake, that's what I'm for. Pause the video and come over and ask me or message me real quick and say, Miss McGowan, I did not get -2 on that slope and I do not know why. And if you're messaging me, do you know what's really helpful to me when you're at home and asking me questions? Some of you send me screenshots of your work, and you have no idea how helpful that is to me as your math teacher to be able to just quickly look at your work and go, oh, yeah, I can see what you're doing. Or either a screenshot or like if you take a picture with your phone and message it to me in Canvas, or you can take a picture with your Chromebook and message it to me with Canvas. When you have a question and you're at home, you sending me a picture of your work helps me so much because then I can immediately figure out what you did wrong and help you. Okay, so there's just a little tip. If you're at home asking me questions, send me a picture of your work and then I can figure out what you need help with. Super helpful. All right, here I go. I'm going to plug it into y equals mx plus b. Here's the thing on this problem. I could totally go through the process of plugging in an ordered pair. Do I already know the y-intercept? Do you see it right here? Remember, if you have an ordered pair that starts with 0, something, that is the y-intercept. But I'm just going to prove to you how it all works out. Let's take that ordered pair and let's plug it in. 0 equals -2 times 0 plus b. 0 equals 0 plus b minus 0. That's a lot of zeros everywhere, and that's because the b value is, of course, 0. So my final equation is just y equals -2x plus 0. Do I really need to write plus 0? I can, but a mathematician wouldn't. They would write it nice and efficiently like that, y equals -2x. And again, as we talked about yesterday, you can totally go into Desmos and you can type in those two ordered pairs and you can type in y equals -2x, and you can always check these using Desmos. If you type your two ordered pairs and then you type the equation that you got, that line had better pass through those two ordered pairs. If it doesn't, something went wrong with your equation. So I highly recommend that you use Desmos for your practice today, when you're taking a test or whatever. Use it to help check the work that you did, okay? That's always a good, solid plan. All right, number 9. Look at that. It says, I need an equation of a line that passes through the points 2, 2, and 4, 3. I'm going to give you a minute right now to first find the slope. Go ahead, slope formula. Are you done? Did I scare you again? Okay, here we go. Slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. Oh, 1/2. There's no negatives to fix. There's nothing to simplify. The slope is 1/2. Again, if you did not get 1/2, go back and find out why. Catch your own mistakes if you can. That's a very powerful mathematical tool, is finding your own mistakes. If you can't tell what you did wrong, ask. Send me a picture and I will help you figure it out. Okay, I'm going to start you off on this next part. So now that means I know the slope, y equals 1/2 x plus b. Okay, again, I'm going to give you a minute now to pick one of those ordered pairs. You can use 2, 2, or you can use 4, 3. Pick one of those two ordered pairs, plug it in, and find b. All right, I'm going to show you something here just for the sake of argument, for the sake of recognizing what's going on here. I don't know which point you picked, but the fact is it doesn't matter because they're both solutions to this equation. So either one will get you to the correct b value. And just to prove it to you, look, I plugged in 2, 2 in this one. 1/2 times 2 is 1 minus 1 minus 1. I got b equals 1 on that. Did you plug in 2, 2 and get b equals 1? Or I could also plug in this other ordered pair as long as you put things in the right place. Remember, y is 3 and x is 4. So watch that closely. I plugged in the other ordered pair, and guess what? I still got b equals 1 because they're both solutions to the same equation. And if you got the slope correct, then it shouldn't matter which one you plug in, you'll get the same b value. So either way, and you don't have to plug in both of them. I just did that on this one to prove to you that you really do get to the same result. Pick an ordered pair and go with it. Y equals 1/2 x plus 1. And again, you could go into Desmos as you're working on these on your practice. I recommend that you do this. You can go into Desmos and you can type in these two ordered pairs and then type in the equation you got and make sure it works. Because as you know, with our Canvas quizzes now, you have to score a minimum score. So it really is a good idea for you to check your work as you go so that you don't submit and get too low of a score and have to do the whole thing again. All right, let's come down here and look at these. So this is what you're practicing a lot on your Canvas quiz today. I'm going to give you two ordered pairs. You need to find M, you need to find B, and you need to write your equation. This is a nice review of things we've done before and how it kind of pulls together with this. So do you guys know how to find the slope from a table? What are the two things you need to write an equation? You need M and B. Okay, now here's the deal with these tables. We are used to tables that clearly show us both of them. Now I can still get the slope pretty well here. Remember, slope is change in y over change in x. Oh, the slope is 1. 1 over 1, 1. Okay. I can still get the slope nice and easy from a table. We've done that for a long time. Hopefully that's a skill that's still pretty solid in your brain. And if not, hopefully that reviewed it right there. It's change in y. Maybe let's just write this for ourselves. Remember that in a table, it's change in y over change in x. The number one mistake students make with tables is swapping those two. On this one, it wouldn't matter because they're both 1, but it very regularly does matter. Now, here's the thing though, in this particular table, where do we usually look in the table to find the y-intercept? Well, we usually look for an ordered pair that's 0, something, right? I'm not seeing that in my table right now. I could use patterns and kind of work my way backwards to try and find it. I could do that. Or I could use the new skills that I've learned in the last week plus of school. And I could go, well, I'm just going to plug in the slope that I got into y equals mx plus b. Okay, what else do I need to plug into this? An ordered pair. Do I have an ordered pair? Yeah, I have 4 of them. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one of these ordered pairs. I don't know. How about this one? It doesn't matter. You can actually, what I want you to do, I'm going to pick that one. I want you to pick a different one. And let's make sure we get to the same result. Okay, I'm going to plug in mine. You plug in yours. Here we go. Your work should look different because you picked a different one. But you still should have gotten b equals 5. Did you? So then to write our final equation here, we are going to say y equals, what was our slope? 1. Oh, mathematician doesn't really write 1x, do they? They just write x plus 5. And to check this in Desmos, you could totally go into Desmos and type all 4 of these ordered pairs and look at them and see where they go, and then type in your equation and make sure it passes through all 4 of them. You can still check a table in Desmos. Okay, number 11, let's do this again. First of all, change in y over change in x. Wait, what? What? What's happening there? How's that changing? Oh, it's not. Plus 0, plus 0, plus 0. Okay. How is this changing? Negative 12 to 10 is going up 2. These are going up because they're coming up out of the negatives, right? All right, so the slope is 0 over 2, which is 0. Okay, I can still totally use that. If I go y equals 0x plus b. I mean, it's a little weird, but I can use it. Okay, now I'm just going to pick an ordered pair. I'm going to pick this one. You can absolutely pick a different one and see what happens. Okay, all right, so I'm going to plug in negative 1 for y and do 0 times negative 10 plus b. Well, 0 times anything is 0, right? And if I minus 0 minus 0, that just means b equals negative 1. And no matter which one of those ordered pairs you picked, you should have gotten b equals negative 1. Okay, all right, so y equals, do I really have to write 0x? Would a mathematician write that? No, probably not, because if there's 0 x's, you just don't have to write them. This is one of those, remember Hoy? This is one of those horizontal zero slope equations. That's why there's no x in it. It's just y equals negative 1. Again, though, you could go into Desmos and you could type in all 4 of those ordered pairs, and you'd see that it makes a horizontal line. And you could type in that equation and see that it passes through all of those. Okay, one more big word problem here, and then you guys are going to practice a lot of writing equations on your Canvas quiz. So let's take a look at this big thing down here. Question number 12. Art and Sierra are descending Kings Peak. That means they're at the top and they're hiking down, which is the highest peak in Utah. Look it up. They have been climbing down the mountain, losing elevation at a constant rate. They reach Anderson Pass 59 minutes after leaving the summit, which is the top of the peak. So they're hiking down. They've been hiking for almost an hour when they reach this Anderson Pass. The graph represents the relationship between the time that has passed since leaving the summit and the elevation. So first of all, let's kind of process that by doing this right here. Look, it says to label each axis. That means the x-axis and the y-axis. So here's the x-axis. And if this ordered pair says 59, that was 59 minutes. Oh, so the x-axis is time in minutes. So this part down here shows me how long they've been hiking. Okay, what does this over here show me? It says the graph represents the relationship between the time that has passed since leaving the summit and the elevation in feet. Okay, I'm gonna turn my paper sideways here. This is elevation then. Elevation in feet. Okay, this starts to give us an idea of where this stuff is really used, but I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to do so much more of it this year too. So don't feel like you have to do this one problem with me and understand all of it, okay? All right, so right here, part A says, find another ordered pair from the graph. Well, that means I want to try and find a corner. This one looks the most cornerish to me. You guys too? So this ordered pair, remember, you do the x first. So I'm going to come down and look on this part. That says 250. This ordered pair is 250, comma, 10,000. You see that? 250, comma, I'm not going to put the comma in the 10,000 because a comma in an ordered pair is confusing. And this is often the case when it comes to real life problems. Our numbers get less friendly to work with because that's real life for you. All right, part B, find the slope. I have two ordered pairs. So here I go. y2 minus y1, 12,701, over x2 minus x1. These are y's, they're elevation, they have to go together. These are x's, they're minutes, they have to go together. Also, I have to make sure these values go together and these values go together. So it needs to go together this way and this way to make sure you're not making any mistakes with your slope. Okay, type it in a calculator if you need to, but this is negative 2701, and this is 191. Now, this is a very weird slope. In real life scenarios, now we're very used to leaving slope as an improper fraction because then we can visualize rise over run. But sometimes in a real life scenario, it makes more sense if we actually divide it. So I'm going to do that right now. Negative 2701 divided by 191. And it's approximately negative 14.14. So I'm going to write approximately negative 14. And the reason that makes a little more sense to me is this slope. Do you know what this slope represents? This is telling me they go down about 2,700 feet every 191 minutes, which is weird, and nobody would talk that way. You wouldn't say like, ooh, what rate were you hiking? Well, negative 2,701 feet per 191 minutes. No, what we do is what we did in 7th grade. Remember unit rates? What we do is we divide those and we say, oh, this is now more sensical. This is about 14 feet per minute. That makes a little more sense. So as you get into real life scenarios, sometimes we'll actually divide those slopes and get meaning behind them. Again, though, if that was a little confusing to you, what I just said, we're going to do so much more of it this year, so don't you worry about it. Okay, now let's finish writing this equation. Y equals, I'm going to use this decimal approximation instead of this very unfriendly fraction, negative 14.14 x plus b. I'm going to choose an ordered pair and plug it in. I'm going to use my purple one. I like it better than this wacky one. So I'm going to plug in 10,000 equals negative 14.14 times 250 plus b. Okay, that negative 14.14 times 250, negative 3535. And then, okay, I'm running out of space here. Negative 3535 plus b, and then I need to add this to both sides, right? So I'm going to finish my equation here. You ready? 10,000 plus 3,535 is 13,535. So my final equation to represent this is y equals negative 14.14x plus 13,535. Whew. Real life problems, not as friendly of numbers. How high is King's Peak? How am I supposed to know that? It's the b value. That is where this y-axis would be, which would tell us their starting point of the hike. So how high is King's Peak? 13,535 feet. This process right here, me giving you two ordered pairs and you writing an equation out of it, is what you're practicing on your Canvas quiz today. So you definitely need a piece of paper. You need a place to keep track of all of this work. You're going to find the slope first, then you're going to find the b value, and then you're going to write an equation. Of course, if you're confused on any of it or get stuck anywhere, you do have to get a minimum score correct. So if you have any questions at all, definitely ask your math teacher.